likely won't get here. He's dealing with a car broke down on the side of the road that his son had a small issue with. And then Jeff is coming from the mosquito abatement meeting as soon as he's finished.
Okay.
Welcome, everybody. This is a combined work meeting of the Grantsville City Council and the Planning Commission. For the record, today's date is April 14th, 2026, and the time is 7:02 p.m. This meeting is being held at the Grantsville City Council chambers at 429 East Main Street, Grantsville, Utah, as well as electronically by Zoom. I am Mayor Heidi Hammond, and I will conduct a roll call. Councilmember Thomas is not here at the moment. We will add his name if he is able to arrive. Councilmember Williams is excused for the first half hour as he is attending another meeting. Councilmember Butler.
Present.
Councilmember Dalton.
Here.
Councilmember Skinner.
Here.
Planning Commission Chair Moore.
Here.
Commissioner Hill.
Here.
Commissioner Montgomery.
Here.
Commissioner Merrill.
Here.
Commissioner Moulton.
Here.
Alternate Commissioner Horrocks. Not present. If you would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to hear presentations regarding the Grantsville City Master Plan and the proposed amendments to the Park and Transportation Capital Facilities Plans, Impact Fee Facilities Plans, and the Impact Fee Analysis. These are only presentation and discussion, and no formal action will be made tonight or public comment taken. Agenda item number 1 is a discussion regarding the Grantsville City Master Transportation Plan, including current conditions, future transportation needs, and potential improvements. Thank you.
I'm assuming that's my.
I think that's your cue, yes.
Okay. I'm gonna move these tall chairs so I can see everybody.
Are you wanting to plug in, McLean?
Yes.
Do you want to sit down and plug in, or do you want to plug in up here and stand?
Yeah, I'll stand up there actually. That's probably easier. Planning Commission, you get to see my good side. Council, you get to see my bad side. So, okay, first off, I'll go ahead and introduce myself. I apologize. My counterpart that's normally with me, we got double booked tonight, so he's in Helper City tonight. I got to draw the good straw and come to Grantsville. I'm McLean Farmer with Jones and DeMille Engineering. We used to have an office in Tooele. We did close that office because we couldn't find anybody to sit in it. But we do still do a lot of work up here for Grantsville, Tooele County, Tooele City, and other municipalities. I'm out of our headquarter office, which is in Richfield, Utah, down in central Utah. But we serve basically everywhere in Utah, some in Colorado and some in Idaho as well. We've been working on this transportation plan for the past about 8 months, working through the model. The model is pretty intense here in the Tooele Valley. Just to give you some background on myself and the work that we've done here, I did the Tooele County Transportation Master Plan. We partnered with Methods Consulting on this one, as well as the Tooele Valley Transportation Plan. And then Methods Consulting did your West Bank study, and that's who we used for the modeling piece of this study as well. So to give you some background, we started this study with data collection. we worked with UDOT. UDOT just finished up their regional transportation plan here in the Tooele Valley as well. So we used that as our basis to start with the planning process. And I'm gonna get into a little bit more detail on that here in a few minutes. I apologize, it's been really windy in Richfield, so my allergies have kicked up, so I'll be taking some water breaks here and there. So long story short, we did data collection. We brought all the data that we got and brought it into a single spot. We then took and added our traffic counts that we did. You probably saw some tubes throughout the city last year across the roads. As you drove over those tubes, we counted each vehicle. We also classified each vehicle, so we got the truck percentage that you guys have on each road. On the major roads, we didn't do every road. We also collected pavement condition of each road, and I'll show you the condition of each road here in a minute as well. And then we helped Public Works with a pavement plan for how to get your roads in better condition. I have that as well tonight to show you as well. The bulk of the work that we did though was in the modeling and what happens in the years 2035, 2040, 2045, and at full build out. So I'm gonna go through each one of these maps. This is the website that we created for you, so you have a place to house your transportation plan. So I'm gonna use this as the bulk of my presentation tonight. For the Planning Commission as well, this is an open discussion with the council, with Planning Commission. So if there are any questions, just interrupt me. If somebody wouldn't mind, if you guys just yell so I can stop. I won't be able to see you as well. So
Sorry.
you're good. Any questions before we start? Okay. All right, so the website, and this is gonna be available for the public. I will say we're gonna hold a public open house in 2 weeks. I just put a poster up here in the front office. We emailed Shelby. Did you get that email today? We emailed Shelby a flyer to post on Facebook. And then we also have a poster in the library as well to advertise that. So the public open house will be held in 2 weeks. There's QR codes on the posters that you can access this website with. You can view it on your phone. It's not as user-friendly on a phone, I will say that. It's a lot easier to use on a computer itself. But starting with the project overview, I won't read all of this. You guys can go through and read this on your own, but basically it talks about the need for the study, gives a little bit of an overview of Grantsville itself, and talking about the growth concerns and challenges that Grantsville is seeing currently. The next tab is your socioeconomic data. Now, I have to put a caveat on this data because the census was done in 2020. This data is going to be quite a bit off. The reason being is we saw a lot of inflation from 2020 to 2026. So you'll see like median home value, that's probably a little low, as well as some of the incomes and the population data here as well. The reason we don't put anything other than the census data on here is those are just projections. And so we put this data in here as our base, but when we're doing the travel demand modeling that we do for the study, we don't use this data. We use data from the U of U actually on the current population statistics. All right, this is the bulk of the conversation today. So what I would like to do is go through each one of these maps with you. I'm gonna breeze over these maps quickly, and then we're gonna come back and get into the fine details of each map itself. So the roadway classification network, this is the classification of roads within the city. So the left-hand side shows the current classification. So you'll see on the left-hand side, there's not a lot of roads that are colored. Each color means a different thing. So like your red lines are your highways, green are your minor arterials. So sometimes those are highways as well. The purple are major collectors. Those are typically city streets that have high volumes. The yellow roads are minor collectors. So those come just under major collectors. And then the black are local roads. The orange are arterials, or expressways. Those are more like your freeway type roads as well. So you can see on the left-hand side, that's your current road network. On the right-hand side, we're showing what the full build out would look like for the city. This does not include local roads. We don't plan for every street within the city. We simply show the type of road that needs to go in to get traffic to go in and throughout the city. And then we allow build out between those roads itself. I'm gonna come back to this map. This is probably the bulk of what we'll talk about today and the questions that I have for the council and the planning commission. But I'll come back to this map here in a minute.
Could we just pause for just a second?
Yeah.
Can you guys all see that okay? Do you want us to move that? Okay, grab that and shift it over. So-
Do you guys have screens in
We all
front
have
of you?
screens.
Oh, okay.
But everyone in the gallery,
Didn't know you could do that.
yeah. Now your neck won't king.
Is this proposal we have here on the right, is that at 2050 or what you're?
Yeah, 2050. Yep.
It's not sharing
Okay.
on the
Okay.
Zoom meeting.
We can share it online.
Do I need to log into Zoom?
Not typically, but it's not sharing on the Zoom meeting for some reason. I don't know why that would be.
Is there any way you could like X out of the legends just really quick?
Yep.
On your end and just, there you go.
Can-
I think that's kind of helpful just to.
Right,
see
I
the
tried
big
that
picture.
and leave that out. I'm just gonna try something really quick.
Okay.
Is the website live? Well, it's not sharing his screen to Zoom and the people online. If anybody's online, so I'm trying to get it to.
I can log in as well if I need to.
Would you mind? And then
Yeah.
that way I know it will work.
Can you just send me the link?
Yeah.
We need to notify that Councilmember Williams has joined us. Thank you.
Thank you. You just want to scan that QR code. That's all the information.
While they're working through some of these technical things, I thought I might give you a little bit of background from a land use standpoint as to how this all plays in together and there are assumptions that are made with regard to the data that you start with the base population numbers and then you try to project. So you try to project out.
Thank you.
That was my
Sorry.
voice like 20 million times. That was cool. You try to project out based on the anticipated growth, the growth patterns, and the current zoning, as well as what could go in those areas. We look at areas that are in the annexation plan. We look at areas that are nearby adjacent development, and we try to put numbers to those things that are both in keeping with what we've seen historically, but also with what we're gonna project out for the next 20, 30, 50, 100 years. None of us has a crystal ball, obviously. So we don't know exactly how and when these developments are gonna come in and when this would fill in. But the conventional thinking is that if we don't ask for the right of way now, when it comes time to develop out these areas and we need that right of way, if we haven't asked for it, it will never be there. I started work in Saratoga Springs almost 20 years ago, and you would not have known 20 years ago what a mess it would be like in Saratoga Springs 20 years later. The roads that were in, however, on the plans then included some areas that had 180-foot right-of-ways. We're not asking for anything near that much here, well, except for one road, which McLean will get into. But I just bring that up as a case study to point out that we're doing the best we can here and trying to plan for and project out what these roads will need to look like and what network we're going to want to see for the next 100 years or more. There are roads, as you know, historically that have been in place for thousands of years. The Romans were great road builders, and a lot of their roads are still in use today, obviously with repavement and other things. So just wanted to give you that context from a land use standpoint and from a transportation master plan perspective. This is where we're headed with these things. And so to turn it back over to you.
Perfect, thank you. Okay. This next tab, I'm gonna breeze over these next three because they're relatively they're important, but not as important for tonight's discussion. Let's see if I can get it to load. Okay, so this next page that you see on the website is the roadway surface type map. So you have asphalt, gravel, and dirt. This is how your UDOT funds are allocated to the city for your C road funding. So your paved roads get a certain amount of money, your gravel roads get a certain amount of money, and then your dirt roads get a certain amount of money. We have provided the city with an update so they can send that to UDOT and get the most money they can get based on the current road mileage within the city. This next map is a average daily traffic map. So each of these blue dots that you see on the screen, you can click on. This is where we put a traffic counter down with those two tubes that go across the roads. So the ADT is the average daily traffic. The ADT weekday is the average daily traffic on the weekday. Then you can scroll down to the bottom and you can see all of your percentages of the types of vehicles that you're seeing on that road. So for example, this passenger vehicle, you have 91% of those are passenger vehicles on that road. And then your heavy trucks down here are 3% of that total. So for each of those points, you can click on those. You can see the same data for those. And this is how we calibrated the model. So UDOT has a region-wide model, and we use this data to calibrate the model itself. So we make sure we have current data as a base point to start with the model increase.
Can you go back to that? I'm sorry. Now
Yep.
that I see the legend there, just kind of clear off those two. We can see that.
Yeah,
You straighten your.
So,
yeah.
so Maine is obviously the heaviest travel.
Zoom out and show them sheep lane.
It's not even on there.
I think it's the red one there.
Yeah, that's road one.
Which road is that?
Sheep Lane.
Oh, yes.
That has 6,700 vehicles on it during the weekday and just over 5,000 average.
What is Main Street?
It doesn't have that.
We didn't do Main Street on the UDOT right of way
Oh,
because
no,
you're
you did
not
not.
over that, but on
Okay.
the west side, you are 2,000.
Yeah.
And you can click on each of these points to see,
Is that Durfee, the building that's,
yeah, Durfee Street.
so Durfee East is the, is
Oh, on this one,
Yeah.
This,
Yeah.
this question may come, you might be able to say, you're gonna answer it later, but
yeah.
as you look at this and your projections of what it's going to look like in the future, are you also giving recommendations on how the road should be constructed looking forward? Because
Yes.
obviously truck traffic is going to impact the road more, heavy truck is gonna impact the road more.
Oh, you're talking like thicknesses?
Just how you build the road, so if you have more semi-traffic, that's what tears up roads, not cars.
Yeah,
And so I'm just wondering if that's gonna be part of the projected plan, so as the city's planning for, hey, this road gonna get higher use and it's going to increase on heavy truck traffic, but we need to make sure it's built to the correct standards, so we're not having to redo it.
we don't specifically look at that. We do look at the pavement condition and give you a treatment type to fix it. But as far as the design of the road goes, that'll come when the design actually happens. When we do the pavement treatment type, we're estimating based on typical practice. So like if we do an overlay, we put 2 inches on typically to help with the structure. But as far as the cross sections go, that's something that we talked about in our last meeting. Typically, there's an ongoing project after this to update those standards for the cross sections itself.
Okay.
So
Just out of curiosity, does anybody from the city happen to know the traffic counts for Main Street? Does-
Yeah, if you give me 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Yes, that's on their website.
Okay,
I can pull that up.
This might be old, but like 18,000 cars per day
18,000. Okay.
might be a little bit outdated,
Mm-hmm.
but it's at least that.
and I would guess Mormon Trail and Maine are the heaviest truck traffic.
I would think so. I don't know, the truck traffic would be pretty intense on Sheep Lane as well, I would think.
Maybe highest.
It's gonna take a minute to load. So the last count on the east side was 11,000. A lot of times we find these counts are not that accurate. Yeah, 11,000 is what it's showing.
Do you know when they did those counts?
This one's saying 2024.
I'm just seeing they're
Like
like,
different on the east end. So,
no.
Okay, it's the same line.
Yeah, the east side's saying lower than that.
Yeah, this is not right.
Yeah. So the problem with some of UDOT's data is the KMZ file they use sometimes doesn't get updated clearly. So cause if Sheep Lane's getting 6,000, that highway is probably getting at least 12, I would think. Yeah,
Thank you.
so there's a gap there. This says 6,000 right there, and this says 12. So. Okay. Okay, this one I'll breeze over. This is a heat map for Grantsville. This takes all the state crash data and puts it into hotspots. So for the city, you can take this, you can zoom in and see all the hotspots within the city. Of course, 90% of your crashes are gonna probably be on the main street. You can see all of the smaller crashes or smaller heat marks around the city as well. There's maybe a bad intersection there at Durfee Street.
Could we have picked these and we didn't need you to tell us?
High school's probably high.
High school's probably high, yep. So you can see all the little hot spots throughout the city. I will say these are only reported crashes, so if they're not reported to the state, they're not part of this data. This is your active transportation map. All we did simply on this one is we took your current active transportation plan that you have and put it on the website. So we had no part in determining where these trails go. Truck routes, this is a truck route map. I will say we are gonna add the depot road on the south end of the city on this. But this is what we've came up with for a truck route map. Does anybody have any comments or concerns about this one?
I would think that Burmester would maybe be included in that, but maybe, I mean, I didn't look closely at what you showed as truck traffic on Burmester, but
It was about 3. The hard part with
That's it.
Burmester right now
Okay.
is that turn to get
Yes,
out of the city.
right.
Once that's fixed, it's gonna go up. Or if that ever gets fixed, I should say.
We as staff requested to pull Burmester off because of that turn.
okay.
So I mean, from.
So you don't want it listed as truck traffic. Got it.
So I mean,
Okay.
from Industrial Parkway north, we truck traffic, but we don't want them coming south.
Into town that
down
direction.
that way.
Okay.
But one road that we did want to add is that, North Army Depot Road.
This one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Okay, let me show you this really quick. So part of the study was also looking at current conditions of the streets within Grantsville City. So we partnered with a company called Vialytics. They're an AI company based out of Germany. They're backed by Volkswagen. That's where their startup money came from. But what we do is we mount a phone in the windshield of a car. And it takes a picture every 10 feet. And what it's doing as it's
Wow.
going down the road, it's picking up every crack and every pothole, every different type of distress within that picture. And every picture gets graded. And then those pictures combine into a segment, and each segment gets a segment score. So what I'm showing you today is not me telling you this is what condition your roads are in. This is an unbiased opinion on the condition of the roads within Grantsville. So based on that assessment that we did, these are the conditions of your roads. So the more blue it is, the better it is. Then it goes to green, then it goes to more like a yellowish, then an orange, and then a red. So your roads are actually in pretty decent shape. I'm gonna pull up the app so we can zoom in on these a little better. So this app, the city staff has access to as well. We just onboarded the city to be able to use the system in-house as well. But each one of these streets has a condition to it. City staff has access to all of the image data that was collected as well. So they can come in here and you can drive down the street just like you would Google Earth. With an updated image. City staff also has all of the manholes, all of the signs within the city. So I'll turn those on. We have all the signage. We have all of the different issues with signs. So for example, I can filter out hidden signs and click on that. It'll show me a picture and show trees in front of those signs so they can go trim trees and stuff like that as well. This is all automated simply by just driving the road and uploading images, and then it pops out into this system. So we took this data and we said, okay, what is it going to take to get the roads to stay in good condition first and then fix the ones that are in poor condition? So you can see on the map here, the different treatment types. There's a lot of different treatment types here, so there's a lot of different colors. But there's mill and fill and overlay. Those are roads that are in fair condition that just need a rehab to them. Crack seal, those are roads that are in good condition. We just want to make sure we seal those cracks off from allowing water to penetrate into the base. Crack seal and chip seal, those are roads that are in good condition but have their existing surface, asphalt surface exposed, because we don't want the sun to bake the asphalt out of the asphalt mix. The red roads are those that are in the worst shape and need the most help. So we're recommending those to be fully reconstructed to mitigate for all the cracking within those streets. So for example, anybody want to look at a certain road? It can be the one you live on if you want.
Willow Street.
This is unbiased, so,
Willow,
Willow Street.
okay, you gotta guide me there,
go to your right,
okay?
to your.
Right
That one?
there. Yep.
Okay,
It's going south.
so you can see
To your, right there,
this one,
Mhm.
yep, that one.
so the city staff can come in, and we can give access to really anybody, it's just dependent on who you want to see this data. We can go drive the road and see the.
This is only a couple weeks old, if that,
Yeah,
maybe a couple days.
so you can see the patching, some of the patching that's gone on. There's some potholes cracking, you can zoom in and see. Some of the longitudinal, looks like there was a trench cut. And then you can go in and see all of the manholes itself on that road. And it will tell you if those manholes are low, even, or too high. So those can go be fixed as well. So this data is on the transportation plan, simply more for information for the public to say, okay, these are the current conditions of the roads. This is our plan to fix the roads. The hard part is convincing the public that you should keep your good roads in good condition and fix the bad roads when you get funding for that.
Clayton,
Yeah.
the overlay get out to, Highway 112 and Shoot Lane?
This one?
Yeah, the one east, that's going east, southeast?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
that area.
yeah, thank you.
Okay. This is where we get into the phasing of the roads in order to take care of the traffic that's coming to Grantsville as growth happens. So we've got 3 phases that we split this into. So phase 1, well, actually, let me show you this first. So the right-hand side is if we do nothing, the left-hand side is if we do something. So the right-hand side shows if we don't do anything by 2035, this is the condition or the traffic condition within Grantsville. So the red means bad, yellow means moderate, green means good. So if we do nothing and let the city grow, these roads are gonna be failing, meaning you're gonna have bumper to bumper traffic in those sections of road at that year. If we add certain roads, which I'll show you here in a second, if we build the roads that we're proposing to be put in, then this is the condition of those roads on the left-hand side. 2042. same thing. If we do nothing on the right-hand side, this is what the condition of those roads are gonna be as far as traffic goes. You can see some of these start to downgrade. But if we add the roads that we're proposing in on the left-hand side, this is the condition that you're in, and same thing for the next one. 2050, and I could probably just skip to 2050 on most of these. If we did nothing, basically all of the roads are failing that are high traffic roads. And then if we add the roads around the city and through the city, we're looking like we're in pretty good shape except for one piece of Main Street. Which technically would have to go to 7 lanes in order to fix that, which is gonna be very hard because you have buildings on both sides.
So what's a fail? What color is fail?
Failing is red. Dark red.
Could I make a comment and ask you a question?
Yeah.
So many of the roads directly north of Grantsville that you have proposed there are not in Grantsville city limits. Are those planned county roads? I mean, you said you worked on the county plan.
Yeah,
So, I mean, those are within our annexed boundary. But we have
yes.
not annexed officially that land into the city yet. So
And that
I
is
guess my question is, I mean, yeah, it's all fine and dandy, but that's not part of the city
correct. Currently, they're not.
currently.
Yes. But we're looking in the future. So
I see that.
let's say, we're anticipating that annexation happening so that when it happens, that you've planned for the traffic demand within the city or so. The other thing to note is 90% of these roads are only gonna be built by developers, which I'll get into here in a minute as well. Some of these roads are gonna be city roads, but the majority of them will be development driven. So if developers don't develop or annex to develop within Grantsville City, a lot of these roads won't happen, nor will there need to be if the city doesn't grow. But the anticipation is there will be growth within the city. Or annexed and then growth within the city that way.
What's the typical life of a new subdivision road?
So you design it for 20 years, but then you have to maintain it. So if you maintain it, it can last forever. If you don't maintain it, it'll go to gravel again.
But 20 years is,
If you did nothing, 20 years is where you'd be, yeah. So this TIP list is your transportation improvement plan. So the level of service over here looks at the congestion within the city. The transportation improvement plan is the roads that need to go in to fix the issues with congestion within the city. So this coincides with what needs to happen by 2035 with the growth projections that are anticipated between now and 2035. So all the roads shown in yellow and red are those roads that need to go in order to provide adequate transportation access through the city. A lot of these, oh, come on. A lot of these are going to be developer related. For example, these outer roads are all development driven. This northern piece is development driven. This red road is development driven. These yellow roads are all road widening. So a lot of these are UDOT. So this one's UDOT. This one's UDOT. This might be a combination of city and county. And then some city widenings as well as county improvements too.
how much of that loop is actually existing right now?
Which one? This one?
The red loop, basically.
This one?
None.
Goes
None.
around. Zero.
None of that, yeah.
What is that yellow line? What road is that? Is that south?
There's a portion of it that's existing, part of it's not Green Street.
Yes, there is a
there's
portion right
portion, but
in there, yeah.
Starting here, it's non-existent.
Well, even there, right there, that cross section where your cursor just was, all
Yeah.
that to the
East.
Yeah, all of
east
this
is all not non-existent as
Right to Willow
well,
Street.
Yeah.
till you get to Willow, yeah.
But this western piece, nothing's in that. So if we, same thing on the next one, this is phase two going to 2042. So these are the roads, the black roads are the roads we just looked at. So the 2035 roads, 2042 roads are the ones in yellow and red. So this little piece, just off of Main would need to be widened by UDOT. And then the red roads would need to go in for adequate flow through the city.
And that red road at the bottom, that's the
That's
depot road,
Depot,
correct? Okay.
Correct, yep. And the last one, this is that full build out, of course. Basically, the rest of those collector roads that are needed are shown here. The black roads are the ones that are in 2042 and 2035. If you click on each of these, this is a good segue into our next discussion. If you click on each of these, this is the number of lanes that are needed for the model or for the traffic to flow through the city. So a 3-lane section is 1 lane in each direction with the center turn lane. 2 lanes is 1 lane in each direction. 5 lanes is 2 lanes in both directions and 1 center turn lane. So if you click on each of these, you can click on them and see the total number of lanes required for the traffic to flow through the city. So the bulk of the discussion tonight, I'm gonna bring up 3 specific locations that we need to talk about. So down here on the west side, you have a heavy density, or we have a heavy density of arterial roads, which are 108 feet wide in this area. Based on the modeling we did, most of the roads in the city, basically all of the city roads, only need to be 3 lanes or less. These green lines that we're showing are 5 lanes. So my recommendation, or the discussion tonight, we need to discuss is, do you want to continue to see all of these be 5-lane roads? Or do you anticipate, or would you like to look at some of those being reduced to maybe a 3-lane corridor or a 2-lane corridor? So specifically, Shelby, do you remember, did we discuss this one staying, or was it this one?
So Matt Canyon needs to stay Main Street, which is that one, is one that is variable, but it's going to be difficult to get the right of way back.
Yes,
So maybe
because
the
it's
road
already
doesn't-
shrunk down to 2 lanes in some areas, right?
So maybe the road doesn't need to be built out to a 5 or 7-lane road, but if we have that right of way, we can always build wider
Later on,
later on.
right?
And so that's why staff recommended to keep those arterial or larger right of way widths. So in the event with the anticipated development going up there, we have the right of way widths.
It's a purchase of private property back, eminent domain to do a lot of that.
Eminent domain and I mean structures there, then you're needing to tear down structures or things like that.
So specifically, so this one has to stay, this
Yes.
green
The
one.
Matt Canyon, yeah, I would say so.
Main Street, there's portions of that neck down to 80 feet and then back up to 108 feet. So there's sections of this one that kind of skinny up. There's also Depot Road that kind of loops all the way around. These two are a little bit close together to be both minor arterials. So it's really up for discussion on, do you keep this high density of arterials in this area? The only thing that I would, you have to be careful with requiring too much right of way on every street. Because the modeling doesn't give you justification necessarily to have that wide of a right of way. It doesn't hurt to get wider right of ways. But there's a chance that a developer could come to you and say, hey, you require too much right of way, you gotta give it back to me or pay me for it. So that's a discussion for the council and planning commission to have tonight. And I don't know, is your city attorney, is that you? Is that the case?
Yeah, so if we require larger right of ways than is necessary, that would be considered a taking, and we would need to compensate the developer for the required upsize that we'd be looking for right of way.
Right. So that's just one thing to consider tonight as we go. There's really 3 areas. There's this one and 2 others that I want to look at tonight. With that,
What's the minimum width of any of these roads?
I think your smallest right of way is 80,
No, our smallest right away is 66.
66.
And then our max is 100.
Yeah, I have some typical sections that we have drafted. Yeah, so this is your 66-foot right of way. This is what it looks like. This is your 90-foot. So this is what your collector streets would look like. And then this is what the arterial looks like. So you have 5 lanes at full build out with parking.
What's the width of this one more time?
This is 108 feet.
Now, what about was the 60s?
This one's 90, and then
66.
this one's 66.
You said that 108 foot was a 5 lane, but
Yes. So this picture's a little bit confusing because we cut it in half.
okay.
So on the left-hand side, you're gonna see if they don't build the full right of way all the way out, the right-hand side is if they build it all the way out. So if they were to build both sides, it would be mirrored
You're on that.
on that side. Yep.
And have you, I guess, ran this or coordinated, because I know we wanted to coordinate with UDOT.
Yes,
Have you coordinated with them?
Yeah.
In regards to this, I guess the one question I would bring up is in coordinating with this, did that, like, we have the Mid Valley Highway and then the other highways, are they actually talking possibly a freeway that could loop around all the way down? I don't know if UDOT's.
I don't think
in their
that's
plan,
part of
or-
that. That's not part of their plan currently. That I'm aware of. We have the Mid Valley. That's
Right,
this
a
one.
highway.
In talking with Travis Hare and UDOT and working with Jeff DeBay, that has been a discussion for Grantsville itself. Aquila, yes, but not Grantsville. Mid Valley Highway in the long future may turn into a freeway, but they're not anticipating that Grantsville will need a freeway.
So jumping back to this, there are, I mean,
Can you go back to that purple line that you were just barely on, to your left?
this
The
one,
dashed, yes.
yeah,
So do we have homes in this area already that are not in,
Is that Walmart there?
yes, that's Walmart. So are there homes anywhere in that purple?
No, I mean,
Shelby.
there's like 2 homes to the east of it, but this is part of Sean Johnson's development.
Okay, I'm talking more further, further south, like
But-
nowhere in
but
there, Highlands.
A bunch of townhomes in there, Not where the green is, I think, green and yellow, aren't there much townhomes?
In here.
No, there's not
Yeah, they're still
townhomes.
east of that yellow and green line.
Okay, so nothing in this area is built out. North Star or North Star Ranch, none of that is in here.
No.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, they're
I
all
mean, it'll be a part of it, but. it's-
right, but not yet.
This
Thank
little
you.
grayed out area, you can see this is your annex limits currently.
Okay,
So that's where your city limits are right now.
So the townhomes are back down the highway, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, that's, Sunsave's is right there, but you're still not that far out. North Star Ranch is south of there, but you're still even inside that yellow line right there.
Yeah, they're one ways.
I guess that gives us a little perspective of how far up the bench these three roads will be, I guess.
Considering.
Originally, there's a couple options. We can leave it the way it is. Knowing that the lane configuration is larger than what's needed. But there's that legal risk involved with that. We can make a few changes to this. We talked about a few today in our meeting. We can change some of these colors so that they're more in line with the lane configurations that are in the model that we got. I guess those are the only two options there. Basically switch the lane configuration to match up with the model itself with a skinnier right of way, or leave it, get a bigger right of way and only build the lane configuration that you need.
That's always my recommendation, is to get more of the right of way width now, even if you don't build out the full asphalt cross section. Because in 50 years or 100 years, when you need the right of way, it's there and available. Not dissimilar to how our current main street is right now. We have plenty of width right now to go out in 5 lanes if we needed to, and if that day ever came. That's because our forefathers had the foresight to look at that and say, this is gonna be the main street. Let's make sure it's wide enough so it can accommodate future growth. That's really what we're being tasked with anticipating right now.
Who maintains that no man's land in the meantime, I guess?
That'd be the city.
Yeah, it doesn't probably get maintained. Doesn't look very good. I mean, I can see the future pairing, but also non-maintenance of all that ground that we never used.
And then your setbacks are off that wider right of way as well. So your houses are set back 30 feet from that 108-foot right of way line.
Wait, you're North Depot Road and you come on that southwest quadrant. What is your elevation gain to get up on that?
It's a
west
lot.
edge?
It's,
And is
It
there
is.
any talk for the council to annex that part of the county in?
It's in our plan. Just approved it a few weeks ago. So we can't just go and annex land into it. It
It's
has
a
to be
proposal.
requested. It has to be requested. So
So just like with any infrastructure project, if there are concerns like that, they'll have to be worked around and dealt with. These lines aren't necessarily intended to be survey level accurate per
Yeah.
se. They're intended to be guidelines as development happens in the area. This is the ask, is that we anticipate the need for these kinds of circulatory roadways. And if we don't ask for it now, we can't ask for it later.
keep it wide.
Yeah, I think we keep it wide. I mean, Sean Johnson's deal is gonna be the same size as Grantsville. We only have one road, pretty much that width, Main Street, maybe Durfee in some spots, or Clark. But I mean, we've seen how busy that is already, so I think we keep it wide, especially on that west bench.
Absolutely.
Give them two, north-south, wide roads to use.
sounds great.
Have you ever had a city say, wish we had a smaller road?
Nope.
I doubt.
The road crew, the budget does.
Yeah. I'd like you to go, if you would, please, to the 33rd Parkway, which I don't know if you're familiar with.
Yes, that is my next area that I
Okay.
wanted to look at.
Thank you.
This is one that we've had countless discussions on between Shelby, myself, and other staff. So this alignment from Mid Valley Highway to about
The triangle.
probably, honestly, probably to here, because we're vested, right?
Yeah, so I mean, for Lakeview Business Park in the master development agreement, it's showing and outlines that Mid Valley Highway or 33rd Parkway will run to the north of them. But the county right now, has right of way obtained where that triangle spot is. To the east.
Where it says Lakeview.
Yeah,
No,
this one.
the triangle right here.
That's the rail track.
So they-
Yeah,
So
but
they have it up at the
anyways,
rail.
this is where they have the right of way.
That's where their right of way that they've purchased ends, correct? Okay.
And then Huntsman's, that's this piece.
Romney's.
Or Romney's, sorry. Romney's group from here to here-ish. I don't know where property lines are exactly.
Keep going to the west,
Is it somewhere in there?
right there.
Keep there.
So their group basically, talking with Shelby, it is vested with the road being on the north side. There is, I would like to see this connecting to Nigreen, only because Nigreen can actually go all the way through. Whereas, Durfee Street gets cut off. But the other issue with Durfee Street is aligning these two intersections is gonna prove difficult as far as the design goes.
We had it lined up before and we changed it. So,
Oh, you had it?
yeah,
It
we had
went
it like
that
that
way,
and
yes.
UDOT wanted a perpendicular
Intersection.
intersection right there, so that's why it goes up.
That's why it got changed.
Yep.
So to line those two up, it's possible, but there's some
The
right of way.
property is still there. It's just sitting there. To
Yeah.
make those line up as you're discussing.
But to make them a 90-degree intersection,
That's gonna be
that's
impossible.
gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Which is what UDOT will most likely require. Something we discussed in the meeting today was potentially coming, once you get to this point, coming down, crossing over, following this dirt road, and possibly connecting in here with 33rd. Or we can keep it on Durfee and somehow figure out that intersection. Those are really the two options that I
So,
wanted to talk about today.
I guess I'm confused. I thought that I understood that the Romneys wouldn't allow 33rd Parkway to go through the Lakeview Business Park, but we have the ability to take it. It's on the north, you said, of,
So in the master development agreement for Lakeview Business Park, their exhibits show the 33rd Parkway, and they reference that they get 8 connections to 33rd Parkway to the north of their development. So it needs to be reviewed and determined, does 33rd Parkway go through? Is that what we want, 33rd Parkway, or do we want it to drop down to Nigreen? Do we want it to connect into, what is that, Sheeps?
One of the biggest problems that you have though
Is-
is it's crossing the tracks there. And the tracks Y right there at that triangle. And it circles there, or at least according to their plans. And so you're gonna be crossing the tracks like 3 times right there. Or at least twice, within a small window.
Yeah, they're gonna wanna miss that to the north.
Are they gonna bring it down this way?
But it's gonna kind of circle.
So we're
yeah.
gonna cross it here and then again.
I
and
think you'll
again?
have to show him on the map because it kind of,
Shelby can get you their proposed plans on where they're putting their rail.
This is a critical one.
It is critical.
Cause part of this level of service map that we show here. This is your current level of service map. You can already see Highway 112's failing, and east side of Main Street's already failing currently. If we don't add in that east-west connection, that's only gonna get worse. So you can see we have that 33rd Parkway coming in. And that's what helps that Highway 138. It helps decrease the traffic on that.
You're only crossing the rail twice. So where the little triangle rail area is, you're only crossing that portion of the rail, and then as long as you stay to the north of it, you don't cross it again.
So you're talking,
So people. Yeah, so you would cross twice here. And you can either come down and have it connect into here, or we continue it and figure out going on there, but the rail splits here, so 1-2 crosses.
so cross
Mhm.
there.
You know, at grade for now, and then eventually it's gonna be a bridge. So you can either come down here and connect through, or stay there.
From your experience, you talked about the 200 where they go to Night Green to Durfee Street, and you got low push for right angle intersections.
Yeah,
The cost to re-engineer what we do there, or taking property, sounds like it'd be more complicated than trying to connect to Night Green. Is that what you would say, or?
I mean, you can do it with the right amount of money, right? Like,
I'm saying, but cost wise, it'd be more cost effective to connect this to Night Green than it would
not
be.
necessarily cost effective, I'm more looking at it from a grid network, so like. Instead, if you connect in here, you're sending everybody down to this point and it's stopping. Whereas if you send people to here, they can go all the way around the city and literally loop the whole city itself on that one road.
If it was up to you, what would you pick? I'm curious from a consultant perspective.
I mean, from a traffic modeling perspective, the Night Green makes more sense, but there's politics involved as well.
So yes, Jason, you're correct.
The other thing about Durfee Street is that we have a bunch of existing residents, right? Where you get to Night Green, there are some, but a lot less, and it's more open country. And so you can, do better planning and less impact to the street with, residents on that street.
You do have the school on Night Green, which you can narrow down to a 2-lane road through that piece and then widen back out to a 3-lane piece. But that, you have a lot more flexibility with Night Green than you do on Durfee itself.
Well, Durfee's already one of the heaviest traffic roads right there.
Yeah, yeah. So I could draw it coming down, crossing over here. Or, I mean, if it's an option still, it sounds like it's not an option to go through their property though, right?
That's on the politics we wanna play.
Okay. I guess I'll leave the politics up to the politicians. If you wanna try and push it through their property, we can draw it like that. Or we can try drawing it through on the west side of their property coming down.
What about right there, that triangle, go back up? Coming off right there and just coming straight, you're You're perpendicular to
right there, and then coming across. Yeah,
Seems like the only real option.
or we can leave it how it's shown.
Either way, McLean, it sounds like you gotta do something with 112 and Durfee connection. Regardless of where you make the 33rd connection on the 112.
Yeah,
If you're bringing it that close to Durfee, it's gonna just be a bottleneck.
Can't believe there's not been more accidents right there on Durfee and.
here.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
What was it that there? A while ago, I mean, long time ago now. They changed it.
It's a little hot spot, but not too bad, not too bad. Any thoughts?
I like the night green.
Bring it down. Bring it down.
Agreed. Agreed.
Okay,
You were talking about the width of the road in front of the school. Affecting it is 90 feet currently. So
okay,
it's already.
It's already-
at what we need it to be.
okay.
So that's done.
But I also agree that dealing with that intersection of Durfee Street crossing 112 is something that has to be,
It's probably still
discussion.
gonna happen.
yes.
On the east side or the west side?
Of 112?
Yeah.
I think that it just is going to need to cross in some, whether it connects to the 33rd Parkway, I don't know, but I just think you're gonna get a bottleneck of traffic of people trying to get to the 33rd Parkway from Durfee Street.
Right.
Yeah,
Turn right, turn left.
if a connection doesn't happen there, they would have to come up
Mm-hmm.
and then turn and come out.
Which isn't a crisis, I just know how our
Uh,
nature is to find the path
Yeah.
of least resistance and the shortest path as the crow flies, and so we're gonna, I just can imagine that could be.
What are you proposing, a tunnel?
Yes, I'd like a tunnel, a subway.
Start digging.
And underpass.
Could they do a right in, right out on that, coming in that side, so it wouldn't be a full intersection, but it would allow people to access 112 right there without having to totally make it congested, because you're not gonna be able to have two intersections that are offset if you don't want to allow it that close.
Yeah.
No.
I'm surprised they've let it
Or you
fly
could
this
do a
long.
right in, right out.
That's an option as well. I mean, I
You
can't,
could do a large roundabout too.
I like that.
That enables an offset
I
geometry.
knew that was
We'll see a
coming.
hot spot.
Roundabouts go to Europe.
throw 5 roundabouts in the city,
They're
right?
everywhere.
Should I start proposing that? What I'll do is I'll clean this up. I'll bring this down, probably cross it. And then still show a connection connecting in.
You're
And
gonna have
then-
to cross it at the.
At this light, at the signal sites that have already been established by UDOT. Is that what you're trying to get to?
Yes.
Okay.
You can't do it at any other spot now unless we amend our agreement with UDOT.
On what, on the highway?
Do a corridor agreement.
Okay. Okay,
Is the purple approved? What's approved with UDOT right now, the intersection?
I think it is the
There's a
purple,
light in that
Purple and
general
that road right
area.
there, the dirt
Yeah.
road by his mouse is approved.
Yeah,
this one.
Two intersections that close.
they're like half a mile apart, I think.
Is their rule. Sorry, I'm just making a note really quick. Okay. Okay, let's see. Shelby, was there one more? I think that was it. Was there one more?
I think it's maybe answered, but just to the north and west where the two arterial roads are fairly close together near the flux area.
Oh, yes.
Did you already cover that?
Yeah, they said keep the width and they'll build road within that width. Is what I was told.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that makes good sense on the west bench. Down in that particular north area, I mean, those are really close together as they bottleneck down there, so I'm not sure about that particular
We could
spot.
change, like,
Not there.
No, not there. I'm
We're talking
talking
east side.
on the north,
East side of
nor,
130.
east of 138,
oh, through here.
right here, yeah.
I mean, how far away are we talking?
I don't
A
know.
mile, half mile thing?
I don't even think it's that.
No.
What
Is
if you
that-
went,
is
what if
that
you
the
went to
edge?
the south of those properties, instead of going up and around them, you just stayed to the south of them, so it's a straight line? Can we do that, or are these,
Where are you talking?
so
Sorry.
not the top green line, the one in, so you're right, you see those developments, how it jets up to the north of those, and then it swings back down south?
Yep.
Yeah, I see
Or
what
if
you're
we just go to
saying.
the south of those properties, and so it's a straight line all the way across, then those two roads aren't so close.
So come
Right
across
there,
there.
yeah.
You're gonna deal with open.
Yeah, there's a lot of
And
property in there with structures on it.
Hmm.
We tried to avoid those, but the best we could.
Is the north green line the edge of the annexation? plan?
No.
Is that
The,
what pushes it south? Because that's the boundary there?
no, your annexation limits are pretty wide.
The current city limit.
Why does it come down right there? That one on the north? Why doesn't it just go straight into 130?
Why doesn't it just go through here?
No, the upper one.
This one?
Yeah, why is that bend down?
Why does it come up to here? We just tried to follow this property line.
But I'm saying farther west, why does it just go straight? Right. Why does it come down?
There's a mine if you keep going to the west.
Oh, you're saying why doesn't it just come like this?
Yeah, all the way.
We tried to line it up with this little mountain road,
I see. That's-
but we can look at this area too and see if we can brainstorm how to get those separated a little bit more as well.
If that more north line stayed straight, like you were saying, I think you'd have more of a distance there, and that road to the west, you said you tried to line up to it, if that's not, that might be easier to move around than trying to get
Yeah.
anything else above.
I just go
Yeah.
straight on that north
And
green
then
line.
push
way
this
back
up to here.
Back to the east. Just don't jog it down, just go straight.
Yeah, okay.
Well, except as far as the Deseret development, isn't that kind of a major cross point that it makes sense to have that in there or no?
Not Little Mountain Road.
I think it's the lower one.
This one.
That one, okay, you're right, because yes, sorry, you're right.
I'll push this one up. So it's a little further away as well.
Just go straight and do
Yeah. Through here. Okay. Okay, any other questions on the classification network? Now that I put you all to sleep. So just for your information, really, there's a 50-page report that really will put you to sleep that you can read. It will be online, that you can read. The PDF is not currently on there. We will be putting it on, today, well, not today, tomorrow or Thursday. So there's that report. There is a document section in here that links you to all the municipal code pages within the city. So for planning and zoning, this is nice. They can pull this transportation plan up when they have projects come in, and they can pull the code up from this website as well. We'll also have a 300-page appendix with all the maps, hard copy maps, because the website technically isn't what you adopt, but it's just a tool for you to use in-house. You're actually adopting the report with the appendix as well. And we have a definition sheet. This is mostly for the public, just going through some of the jargon that we use in the transportation plan. You can read through each one of these definitions and see what we're talking about. Shelby, any other items you can think of, or anybody else that wants to bring up anything that's a plan itself? We've been here for a while, I know. Any other thoughts?
Thank you.
Any questions from council or the planning commission?
No?
But we'll say, we know this is a lot to digest, and so that's why we wanted to give you a couple weeks to look through it before we had a public meeting. Be available to answer any questions that may come up, and then we'll get this in front of you guys for adoption in the next little bit.
So the plan is 2 weeks from now, we'll do the public open house. We'll leave it open for 2 weeks after that for public comment. We'll get you all of the comments to look at if we get any. And then we'll go through those comments, address them. Then it goes to public hearing at the planning commission level. And then it will go, they'll recommend to the council for adoption. And then the council will then adopt after that.
How long ago was the last?
Public hearing.
Unless your code requires that. Typically, no, but
Okay.
if your code does require it, then yes, you will.
Okay.
How
Oh,
long ago was the last time the traffic was done last?
2021 was the last plan,
2022.
2022.
Tried amending it again in 2023, but that failed.
So the, kind of the draft that we talked about last year was just the draft that was the preliminary, or?
It was done by Horrocks, I believe, and it was just didn't work out.
Oh. Do you, McLean, do you do any like overlay of sensitive lands on the proposed?
On the
roads
proposed
that we don't
routes?
have? Yeah, like wetlands and stuff.
Typically, in this level of study, no. When we're looking at like a specific corridor, we do, but we're just looking super high level. We're strictly looking at traffic numbers, how to fix the issues with the traffic, and then if you want to look at certain corridors, then we can look at that. But in this study, no, to that one.
Thank you.
I did forget one item. So we did cost estimates, inflated them up to the year that they're anticipated to go in. This is a lot of money. If you were to put every road within the city at full build out, including developers, UDOT, county and city, you're 835 million.
Is that all?
That's it. Chump change.
Is that include like traffic lights?
This is just roads.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't think so. That
So,
would double that, right?
not quite, but.
Okay,
So the city right now is we only have you guys putting in responsible for half of Depot Road. The widening projects within the city that need to happen, and then, I think that's it, honestly, the widenings and Depot Road itself. The county is responsible for you're teaming with the county on some of these. So the county's responsible for about 145,000 or 145 million. UDOT's responsible for about 125 million. And then developers take the brunt of it at about 450 million. This also takes into account, I will say, the cross sections of the wider right of way being 5 lanes instead of 3. So if you want us to take that down to 3 lanes, we can do that. So that'll decrease that cost a little bit.
No, because it'll just make everything else red.
Yeah.
More red.
Right.
So the answer to that question is no.
Okay.
I mean, we,
Sorry, but
yeah, leave it there and we'll have to build as we can. That's all there is to it.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have for you tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
did I close out?
Any other comments from the council or commission? Okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 2, a discussion of proposed amendments to the Parks and Transportation Capital Facilities Plans, impact fee facilities plans, and impact fee analysis for Grantsville City.
You want me to plug in or are you able to share that PDF?
I can share the PDF.
Okay.
I think. There.
Yeah, it'll work. You want me to run with?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm Robert Russell with Ensign Engineering. Annually, we amend the capital facility plan, impact facility plans, and impact fee analysis.
I'm sorry, that was me.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm just trying to stretch it out on the screen.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
And an item of correction is we basically amended everything except for the transportation. So we include parks, drinking water, wastewater, water rights acquisition, storm drainage.
I do not know why it's not. So maybe you'll have. Can we budget me for new computer?
Okay, so you.
Take a 5-minute break.
Yeah, I think I'll need to.
Yeah, we'll take a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
Technology break.
A tech
Thank you.
break.
It's a big.
It is a
big
big
pile.
pile, yeah, and I'm.
Is that the
Well,
packet I
laptop
made?
just can't handle it.
And then do I need to log into Zoom as well?
Yeah, so here's the.
Oh, I think I've got it here. I think I've done
You got it?
Does that or is it a special? Yeah.
What's the 9
No, I can like-
or better?
Don't connect to audio.
Okay.
We use a separate phone because.
So, yeah, how do I do that?
We'll start deleting.
Okay.
Your own stuff.
You have
So use a
to-
separate phone, so we're not deleting all pictures of your.
So it should be good now.
Yeah.
Well,
We provided these days
As long as it's
with the
computer.
phone so they can use it.
You just strapped to the school bus and just.
Yeah.
yeah.
Let it go.
Why?
So you can provide updates with that phone, maybe go back and do assess based on.
It's like if the chip seals are out, you can re-drive it and then it'll update automatically the scoring of that road.
Did it do, like, when it, when the image on there, like, some of the roads, like, the road is settled, it's not a pothole, it's there.
Yeah.
Some of those look like road conditions said it was good, and yet
Saving.
driving it, I know it isn't.
The hard part is.
The phone didn't catch it all.
Yeah, the imagery, if there's it'll see big ruts in the road, but if they're small, it's like very small.
Like a
ruts.
water line when you settle.
Yeah.
It's like
It's hard to see that. 'Cause
I
that
didn't wanna
was
do
what's
that.
involved. So it'll catch it as patchy,
That's true.
but it won't catch it as running.
So just take like, a lot of the hardest photos are.
Well, no.
That showed up fine.
Oh, yeah.
It was easy to have it.
I was
because
just
then you don't have to
very
be
like,
here.
myself,
You don't have any-
down South Street.
And she did set up the.
Where they,
yeah.
they
She
didn't
just set
pack
up
enough,
the-
it just
she
has,
just
it was just.
questioned.
It didn't show that, it said.
Good thing you get paid by the hour, huh?
Right.
I think just, yeah, so I think as a committee could.
A life cycle.
But I
Yeah.
don't think.
Mark said go.
No, they can.
Well, it's good because I've always had.
Yeah, agreed, okay. Perfect. Sounds good.
I wanna be on the committee too.
Yeah.
We'll start slowly. Think about that.
Are you ready, Robert?
Is that guy there? Mark was-
Truck's billed by the hour.
Oh, who's that guy?
He is out.
He doesn't care.
No, we are hourly.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Didn't know. He's like, I only.
In that case, we'll get started.
No, so our thought process, right, is
Never been to a
like,
rodeo ever.
Or
we're hourly and
Yes.
we work overtime.
We're going to go back into our session of this meeting and continue our discussion with item number 2. It appears that we're ready. Order in the court. All right, go ahead, Robert.
Okay, yeah, so Robert Russell with Ensign Engineering. Yeah, we're basically looking at amendments to everything except for transportation. Once the transportation master plan is approved, then we'll update and bring that for planning commission and city council. So we do amend these annually. We did amend Parks and Transportation in January, is when it was approved by city council. There was a few changes there just to bring the transportation impact fee down, and then parks, we updated with like scenic slopes and a few other projects. So yeah, impact fees, I won't read everything here, but help fund expansion of, to accommodate future growth. We met with city staff multiple times in December, and then once we had a draft, we met a couple weeks ago. It takes 90 days before impact fees are approved by city council before they go into effect. And any developer funded projects, which you'll see some of those throughout here, are not impact fee eligible. We did utilize the demographics that we had updated for the 2026 sewer rates, which was kind of a little bit lower for projection for the next 10 years. I mentioned there that, typically the growth rate for Grantsville over the last 26 years has been 4.5% to 5%. There were some spikes during the COVID years. But what we do is we determine the capital improvement projects using the demographics and level of service for the various, for water, wastewater, and parks. And then we determine any non-capital improvement project costs such as interest expense for bonds, existing capital assets, professional expenses, and then future debt service. As I mentioned, here's kind of the growth rate for the demographics section that we utilized. Starting off with like 3.5% for a couple of years and then a 4% growth rate through the 10-year planning period. And then we look at different sub areas, and what this helps us with is projecting where growth is going to occur and where improvements are going to need to be made. And this just summarizes the residential growth rate, the commercial growth rate. That was another thing we did modify, is we previously had used a growth rate, the same growth rate for residential as commercial, but looking back at previous building permits over the last, I believe it was 5 or 6 years, what we found was, the commercial growth rate was hovering a little bit less or at 1%. So we've made that update moving forward. We haven't changed for drinking water. We haven't changed the level of service. And this is based on, for indoor, it's based on metered usage. We use state values for outdoor, just because this change was made, in 2022 when we were having drought years, and towards the end of the summer, we were seeing more usage of city water for irrigation instead of Grantsville Irrigation Company water. Drinking water projects, we've got, they're all kind of listed there. A lot of those you can see that are zero impact fee eligible costs. Those are developer projects. The Bates well is currently being drilled. North Star tank, we're just waiting for the Nigreen water line to be finished so we can fill that. So those are projects that are currently being built. North Star tank number 1 was needed previously for, growth. And so it was previously impact fee eligible in older plans, but now, there's not enough capacity, so it's no longer impact fee eligible.
Robert, how many projects is that?
Well, and there's even more. These are just ones we looked at as impact fee eligible. And yeah, if you look in the, like the main study, you'll see them there. I mean, there's probably, what, 15 there? I mean, we can count them up, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, this shows kind of even more. I guess there's 28 overall, but some of these, I'll try to zoom in here. Some of these are replacements, you know, when you get into the city, you know, just replacing a lot of the smaller lines with larger lines. The standard's 8-inch diameter. And this is just looking 10 years out. So they're, you know, like for Deseret, for this development, for example, we're really just showing kind of the backbone infrastructure. We anticipate the developer would be building kind of these interconnecting water lines, and then we don't anticipate they'll build like their zone 7 tank in the next 10 years. So there's a little bit of change in impact fees. They do go up a little bit. We base them based on meter size for residential, and then non-residential, we use per fixture unit. And that's assuming, and it's in the report, that you know, the equivalent ERC is, which is equivalent residential connection, has 24 fixture units to basically get a cost for per fixture unit. And feel free to, yeah, just stop me if you have any questions as I go along. Public safety, we left the level of service to change there. This wasn't in the packet, but it is in the report. I kind of just threw it in here just to explain that what we did look at for public safety was when we calculate the fee, we went to a dwelling unit or a unit for non-residential, and we based it based on CAD calls from the police department to get a little bit more accurate of what the impact is for example, single family, multifamily, and non-residential. And that was using 2025 data from the police department. And we'll continue to update that yearly as we get more data. And the police department's now tracking that. So what we found out was, you know, single family, you know, there's basically 0.575 calls per unit. Multifamily is almost 2, and non-residential is 2.5. And I'll show you kind of where that comes into play. Oh, I'll skip to it too far. As far as capital improvement projects, one change that we did do, just because we don't have the need quite yet, is we've kept a cost in there for future satellite fire station, but we did not put it in for impact fee eligibility. Because since we're amending this annually, you know, once we see the need, then we'll add it back in, so we're collecting impact fees. So the impact fee eligible costs are actually the animal control shelter, and then the Justice Center police expansion. This just shows where we anticipate, you know, improvements to be made. We've got a little note there that, you know, that actual project location will depend on, you know, how development occurs. And here's the big change where that I was mentioning. So it has gone down per dwelling unit for single family, for example. It has gone up for multi-unit and non-residential. And that's just because there's more calls for those, you know, those land uses. Parks, left level service, same there, 4 acres per 1,000 population. We had to, just to keep the impact fee balance positive, there is 1 year where it goes negative, which is fine. But to keep it positive, we did adjust some of these dates. Let's see, so like just the phases on Scenic Slopes Park and then President's Park, we moved those out, kind of looked at, okay, well, when realistically is President's Park going to be like 60% developed, and adjusted that date accordingly. And then here kind of shows all the projected parks in red. And so that caused it to go down slightly from what it was previously. Wastewater, we've kind of gone over this in nauseum with city council meetings, but the big one is the treatment plant. So we've got that in here, and then there's the upsize of the West Bank interceptor, segments 1 and 2. And then the Northwest Lift Station, which will occur kind of in conjunction with the treatment plant, just upsizing the force main to get a little bit more life out of that lift station. And then public works improvements, we did push it out, towards the end of the planning period. So yeah, you've probably seen this figure before, but it's just showing the kind of the West Bank interceptor, this line here, the Vega Street collector, and then the SR 112 interceptor, which would be developer constructed, and Southwest sewer line. And then there's obviously the upgrades to the treatment plant. So this one did go up slightly. Because of the upsize we added, for the West Bank interceptor, we did pull, previously we had like the Willow Street collector. After looking at a little bit more detail, that project wasn't needed, so it was moved kind of outside of the 10-year planning period. So it did go up a little bit. Water rights pretty much stayed the same, except for the multi-unit residential. Really what drives this is the current, if you can find the water rights, the current water rights cost. So we're using 29,000 per irrigated acre. And the difference here is just multi-unit residential, just factoring in kind of because we're using townhomes as part of multi-unit residential. And that means that water right quantity is a little bit more. So that has gone up just slightly. Storm drainage, we don't, the city does not charge impact fees for storm drainage because a lot of the storm drainage right now is developer constructed. If there's you can charge impact fees in the future if there's any more regional projects that are planned on, and the city's paying for those. So here we've just listed the storm drainage guidelines for the city right now. A lot of this is based on the West Bank interceptor, or not, the West Bank storm drain master plan. So the city has constructed this Clark Street storm drain improvements project. There was a grant for it. There's some future phases that are planned for this, which would be a retention basin up higher in the basin, and then it's kind of turned sideways. But yeah, these are all the projects that were identified in the West Bank storm drainage master plan. And as I mentioned, storm drainage, they're not applicable just because they're really, all the improvements thus far are constructed by developers directly. But if that's something in the future the city wants to charge impact fees for, then it'd have to be looked at as more regional improvements. Impact fee comparisons, we look at, we kind of went over this last year, but we look at like a smaller 5,000 square foot retail, and then we compare them to not necessarily similar cities, but at least cities that have similar impact fees, and kind of show you where the proposed and then existing, Grantsville impact fees are. So for example, retail's gone up a little bit, and I think that was due more to the public safety, just the change in, the calls per unit that drove that. 1,000 square foot building, that's gone down, and that's kind of had the opposite. We were basing for public safety, we were basing it on square footage previously, and now we're basing it on units. So if you had 1,000 or a million square foot warehouse, for example, and it just was one unit with one water service, one sewer service, then it would just be charged that one impact fee per unit. Townhomes, it's gone down slightly, single family slightly gone down. Here is where the city's kind of hitting about right in the middle of the comparison cities. And then apartments also gone down as well. I guess, yeah, are there any questions?
Was there a slide, and I missed it on, we talked about sewer bills. Water, I was worried about water bills, water. Let's see that,
Water?
water.
Yeah, so there's water. This is impact fees, so this isn't the rates.
There are rates in here.
No, this is impact fees, so not the water rates.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, any comments from?
I guess just my question would be is it a dance we're dancing trying to compete with other cities to keep impact fees low, or why not put a little buffer on there and make some extra? What prevents us from doing that?
Yeah, I mean, you try to stay. I know I've listened to talks that developers have had, right, at conferences and that type of thing, is you try to stay competitive. I mean, if you're charging too much, then you're just not gonna see the growth. And then if you're charging, too less, then you're not paying for the improvements you need. So it is kind of a balance there. Really, we look at, with our level of service, hey, what improvements are needed? And then there's only so much we can do. We're looking at a 10-year planning period. So that's the ERCs, equivalent residential connections, in that 10 years. And there's only so much we can do there with those improvements.
The other challenge is too, if we get too crazy with it, the developers will notice that it's too crazy and they'll push back, and then all of this comes out and they'll say, you're basing it off of not good data or good engineering. You're basing it off of a desire to have too much. And that opens up our impact fees challenge, legal challenge, and then we right back here doing it all over again. So we gotta stay within a pretty narrow band of what's allowed.
So there's law that governs what we can do. You just can't make something up. There's laws that are saying.
That's the whole point of doing this study anyway. This impact fees are one of those things that is just so heavily regulated, and rightfully so. I mean, no one wants to pay more than they have to. And this is a cost that eventually gets pushed back onto homeowners to pay. And yeah. Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions? The commission, council?
Is the city looking at not waiving fees as much now?
What are you referring to?
I know that we've waived fees in the past, and so with Cameron's concern about maintaining a balance, I just wonder, are these static or are they fluid? Are they?
I think any impact fee is fluid, especially when it comes to commercial impact fees. And you're in direct competition with municipalities. Waiving fees for keep the project going is common practice across multiple municipalities in the years. Because you want to drive economic business growth.
Yeah.
Residential and housing growth, probably not as much, but commercial and waiving and assisting or waiving impact fees on commercial development, I would still think that you would see that as a one-on-one. I mean, I don't think it's a set in stone, but a case-by-case basis.
Barry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna have Robert's wrong. I'll try my best. So this is a 10-year window, right? Looking at the next 10 years. And so next year it's the next 10 years. And so it's gonna change. The next 10 years is gonna change. So there has to be some Yeah. So
Yeah, and I've mentioned like for wastewater treatment, right? So the plant, like even though there's an impact fee now, like as long as that plant has capacity, excess capacity, you can charge buy-ins for that, buy-in fees. And a lot of this data, that's kind of why we went there with transportation, for example, we're based like for non-residential, we're basing that based on their actual traffic study. So they come in, you know, it'll be reviewed by city staff, you know, the transportation study. And then that'll kind of dictate what their impact fees are. And what we use on a lot of these is we try to use specific city data to back up level of service. So it's specific to Grantsville.
Any other questions or comments? Good. All right, thank you, Robert. All right, with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn by Councilmember Dalton. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second by Councilmember Williams. All in favor?
Right.
Thank you for McLean and Robert for your information. Appreciate it.
You were worried about that one.
You're all right.
Yeah. We were talking about how some of those.
Couldn't find where I saw it.
Oh, it was on the.
I know that you are.
His goals are
Millions of hours of free
I
time.
just recalled something.
Everyone.
Yeah.
That's your.